All right. So let's talk about why it's so tough. Let's just talk about why it's so tough first. And I'm going to go through this because I think some of y'all probably get a lot of this. I'm going to speed through some of this. A part of it is because you are not just building public will. So Nat was talking about this outer, I'll go through this. The innermost circle is that you all are figuring out the case for systems change. How do you actually change systems, the housing delivery system, right? The workforce development system, whatever that is, as advocates. But you got to walk that out to the gatekeepers, right, in your communities, the United Way, the Chamber of Commerce, the blah, 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 all of those, the hospital administrators, right, all these folks, the teachers union, all that stuff. You got to walk it out to them and have them be on the same page. And they got, as Anat said, they got their own problems, right? The hospitals are dealing with their own healthcare. The healthcare folks have their own issues. The schools have their own issues, right? All these folks have their own issues, and yet you want them to take on sort of systems change that is in alignment with what we're trying to do in housing. That's tough. Then you want the broader public to lean in the way that Anat was talking about, because it's important to have broader public support for some of these things that you need. And the challenge for us is we are making the case at multiple levels, which is challenging. And I will say to you that a part of the reason we are, so Anat was talking about the way we communicate, a part of what's conditioning how we're talking is not because we don't understand always how to engage people. It's also because we're being conditioned by the political environment. When you go to the State House, right, that's a different conversation than what happens when you are not door knocking. And so we're trying to manage this multiple thing where you go to legislators, they want to know first thing at the door, how many jobs are you talking? Because they have a job to do, right? And they're getting judged on whether or not they bring jobs back, because that's what they do, policymakers. When they have to run for election, I brought this many jobs, I did this, right? So they're judging you by a whole set of issues that they want you to respond to. So I want to just acknowledge that often we're communicating in a particular way, not just because we sort of said, oh, we need to talk about jobs and the economy. If we're trying to respond to the fact that the folks we're talking to, the folks we're making a case to, right, are listening in a particular way. All right. So this is tough. We're not just talking sort of speaking truth to power, even if our voice quakes. We're talking about how we do that in a way that has power, speaking truth to power and having power respond. That makes it that makes this conversation much more difficult than simply framing the issue differently for broader public audiences.